Hello, and welcome back to the Ambassadors of Gaming. We are continuing our interview series today. I'm one in your collection of hosts, Ambassador Michael, and today I will be interviewing one of my very best friends, Christopher.
Hello, I am Ambassador Chris.
That
is I.
All of the enthusiasm. Please applaud.
No, it's not that. Yeah, no. Oh yeah, I did say kind of robotic. No, we started this channel as Fanboys of Gaming, and then changed it over to the Games Embassy. And after I was there for a lot of the news videos, but now that we have taken some time off from the news, I'm just starting grad school, so I've been a little busy. So that's where I've been. If you are one of our longer viewers,
too true. Yeah, we've been.
Cares.
They do.
Sorry.
There are people who care. I didn't send. You're not in the Facebook chat, and sometimes I forget that, so I got to make sure I text you stuff on the side too. But I was. Did you happen to view the Phil Spencer video we did a while back?
No, I did not.
Okay. Well, I did. Short version is I know you and I had talked about it for a long time, and how I wanted to make a video on just Phil Spencer's role in changing Xbox and all that.
How he made Xbox not horrible in
Pretty
Game
much.
Pass Ultimate is one of. Oh, by the way, totally on a separate note, did you see that all of the games that were shown at the show are all launching on freaking Game Pass?
I did see that, which is honestly pretty incredible.
Freaking awesome.
Right. And that's the conversations we were having, because I know, I don't know. We've been having conversations lately on, gaming culture and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
But anyways, yeah.
I don't want to go too hard into that, since this is an interview thing. Yeah. But, holy crap, I was blown away.
It definitely is a much bigger deal than I think some people are giving it credit for, honestly. But, jeez. Yeah, so the interview series we did so far, we've done with Jason, and we've spoken with Daryl as well. And the Daryl interview isn't out as of the time of this recording, but Jason's is. So, excuse me. Yeah, we're just gonna have a nice little chat. We're free flowing it. So, I think we started with everybody on kind of gaming history and kind of your exposure to games, because everybody's is so different, where they start, and I think that kind of impacts a bit how you approach games, people that were NES era definitely have more affinity for 8-bit 16-bit games,
yeah. There are some people who grew. I know you always had a console in the house growing up. I know you did. You told me. That was not the case for me. I was born in '93, so I was kind of past the NES and Super NES era. My first game console was an N64, and it had been out for, I think, 2 years already at the time when we got it.
But they were still pricey, too, from what I recall.
Oh, yeah, they were. I played... So some of the earliest games I remember playing are Super Mario 64, Super Smash Bros., the original Super Smash Bros., I think those were really the only 2 games that we had that I played at the time. Mm-hmm. I got a Game Boy shortly after that, a few years later, and I played the game that changed me forever, Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. That game is so good. I love it so much. That game is amazing, and it made me love Zelda. Then got a PS2. Mm-hmm. I was much more of a casual gamer as a kid.
Right.
Than someone who... It wasn't until we got that you and I got the 360 and we started playing Call of Duty Zombies that I really consistently played games. There was a lot of game. I had seasons, where sometimes I wouldn't touch my PlayStation for months, and then when I got Tony Hawk's Underground 2, I played that consistently for 3 months straight every day after school, and my grades suffered.
Fair enough. I think that also has to do with I don't know, when we were kids, we were a lot more active outside too, and wanting to go hang out with our friends and do teenage stuff.
Especially with those of us that were allowed to leave the house.
Yeah, I was not. That's why I spent a lot of time playing. Well, when I was younger, I could, but I still spent a lot of time playing games. But yeah, I'll get into that on my own interview, I'm sure.
Console. You know what console I never had that I really wanted though growing up? I feel like I really missed out. I never had a GameCube.
Here's my thing on the GameCube real quick. if you can grab a GameCube and you can grab the games that are not available outside of that ecosystem, they're totally worth playing. The GameCube had really great games.
Yeah.
I liked it the most out of that generation.
Yeah. I had a Wii, which we got, for Christmas. Every family had a Wii.
Everybody had a PS2 and a Wii.
Yeah. And then after that, once I got into high school, like I said, I played 360. And it wasn't until I moved out and went to college, that was when my gaming ecosystem really blew up.
Right.
Do you want me to talk about current, or are you saving that for
however you want to go about it?
For later. Okay.
Talk.
So, aside from just playing games, I'm a huge collector of stuff. I wouldn't call myself a super collector. I don't have everything, but I have. Let's see here. Right here on my desk, I've got the Galaxy style. I'm not even going to go into this because I can do a video where an updated apartment tour and show all stuff. Suffice it to say, there's 5 3DS, actually 6 3DS models in our house. There is a Wii U boxed up that isn't being used. There's an Xbox One or an Xbox One X, a PS4 Pro, a Switch. There's 2 Switches in my house.
Right.
And right now, one of my grindy game that I play is Destiny 2. I've always loved Destiny ever since I started playing it. And then I play just time waste games on the side. I like Minecraft. I like Animal Crossing, and my fiance and I have really been getting into Minecraft Dungeons as well. It's a really simple, version of that game.
Yeah. So I had seen Kevin talk about it a little bit.
It runs horribly on the Switch.
Does it? I figured it would.
Horrible. But you want to know something crazy? Diablo 3 runs amazing. Absolutely amazing. I've been reading reviews and looking at video reviews, and people who actually went out of their way to try and get that game to stutter on the Switch couldn't make it happen.
That's pretty incredible. But I feel like Blizzard actually kind of cares, at least enough about performance.
Well, a lot of stuff happens too with launches. When they want to do a simultaneous launch, what they'll end up doing is they'll design the big console and PC versions and then just chop the workability down to get it to run on the Switch. But Diablo 3 had been out for so long, Blizzard's like, we'll just take our time,
Yeah, they can, because when they sell it, they'll sell a couple million copies, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it could have been, I don't know whether they outsourced it or not, but sometimes, as you know better than anyone, that sometimes when they outsource a game to be ported by a different company, it does not go well.
Yeah. I've been on the receiving end of that once or twice.
Yeah. Was that what happened with Arkham? That what happened with your Arkham game, the one that ran? I don't remember. You kept falling through the map.
Yes, and this is the funny story is that this actually happened at Adam's house. So I have a witness that this happened. It was actually on his PS3. Arkham Origins. For some reason, my save file glitched, and I hit a checkpoint. And when I hit the checkpoint, I did some weird combination where I was grappling and coming up. And when I did, I clipped through the building. My cape clipped through a building somehow. And when it did, it totally changed the physical properties of the map. And just none of the physical properties existed. All the boundaries got deleted for some reason. And because that game has an old...
all the collision detection is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. There was no barrier at all to prevent him from falling, so I just fell through the map infinitely. Actually, he wouldn't even die. You just kept falling.
It would and then it would reload the checkpoint and just fall again. Yeah,
and so it was inescapable.
just a good example. So that's kind of, I have gaming knickknacks. Aside from that, I have my fiance recently just got me one of my favorite Pokemon is Magnezone. I think it looks cute, and I named them all Maggie.
I do recall you telling me that.
Yeah, if I had a real one, I'd put a bow on it, like a pink bow on a Magnezone. And she got me a little Magnemite plushie that's sitting on top of my Bose computer speaker.
That's nice.
I love that. I have a whole bunch of Overwatch. Pops aren't I'm really on and off with Pops. I usually only get Pops with characters I really like, but I have a whole bunch of Overwatch Pops, and my Justin, he recently got me a Soldier 76 one, which I could not find. They've been out of circulation forever. I was so excited.
That's good. Yeah, pops are weird. Like the popularity of certain ones is really random, it seems like.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of it. Yeah, gaming knickknacks. I have a Zenyatta birthday card on my wall, a Zelda birthday card. Just other just gaming stuff, not all just the games themselves. I'm also really I like the culture and like the stuff that comes out of it, aside from just playing the games.
Right, and I think that's a big reason why we all do what we do, right? Mm-hmm. Like we care about the culture of games.
We love games and we love the gaming culture, except for the toxic part of it.
Right, which we've had many discussions on as of late.
Yeah, like playing Rocket League. One of the best places you'll see that. Play Rocket League or Overwatch, and you will see the toxicity.
Yeah, it's funny because like lately I've been seeing like hate messages, both on PlayStation and Xbox, which is more uncommon for me because I'm not used to seeing that on the PlayStation platform, at least as much. The back in the 360s, like I'm gonna go through this elaborate ploy, or I'm gonna explain this elaborate ploy to at the end say I'm gonna like fuck your mom or something, like I'm gonna go back in time and hatch a dinosaur egg, and then I'm gonna have that dinosaur egg kill you, like.
Dude, my buddy Adam, growing up, it was Christmas Eve and he was playing Call of Duty and he got some hate mail. This one, but this one's hilarious. And he opens up the message and it just says, "Your mom's gonna die Christmas morning. Merry Christmas, bitch." I was like, so oh my gosh.
The MW2 so 360 days were brutal.
Yeah. But that was when everyone would go on the mic, like everyone was trash talking everyone.
Yeah.
Almost no one's in game chat nowadays. Everyone's always in a party.
Yeah, I feel like that's because of that, though. Like, for a lot of people. And then also, like, kids. I feel like parents don't let kids have mics as much anymore. Because, I don't know. Like, at this point, a 12-year-old was born in 2008. So, like, somebody who's...
Gosh,
that's crazy, right? Like...
I'm closer to... I turned 27 this year. I'm closer to 30 than I am to 20.
Right. At this point, we are... started to approach old age rapidly, and so it's with kids. I don't think parents as much are like for example with Jason, he was telling me I guess like Roblox is this big thing with kids now. I don't know anything about it, but he was telling me about it. I guess it's like the new kind of Minecraft MMO Club Penguin kind of type deal, and
I think I have seen that.
Yeah, it's like this weird. It's like a Minecraft spinoff. It almost looks like Minecraft, but like made in those knockoff Legos. What are they called? You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That like big
Mega Blocks.
Yeah, Mega Blocks. That's what it's called. Yeah, it looks like that. It's super weird. But anyways, I guess it has a lot of problems. And he's like, yeah, I don't let my kids play that because like there's like pedophilia stuff going on. There's kidnapping stuff going on. All the normal crazy stuff everybody worries about with games. And the internet.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay.
Yeah, nothing's changed. In case you were hopeful.
Yeah, just if I was worried that shit changed, but it did not.
I was worried we'd have a better reputation.
What is your next question?
So, I think habits is a good one to get into because the way definitely with you, your habits have definitely changed in the way that. In what you play, not only in what you play, but how you play. Like, for example, like with Destiny,
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, starting in high school, you remember we were big Call of Duty players. So we always got the yearly Call of Duty and we would play it. That is not the case anymore. It hasn't been the case for
quite a time. I think since what?
I bought Infinite Warfare. And I played it like 4 times, not even.
Right.
I was just, it's just not. It doesn't grab me like it used to. That's fine. I liked Halo. Remember we loved playing Reach.
Right.
Reach was really fun. Reach was good. The Forge World stuff was really good. Halo 4 was a really good story, but when Halo 5 came out, I did not care for Halo 5, which is a pretty common opinion. But I definitely find myself playing games on more of a schedule now for not just obviously for being a student, but Destiny, like I say, I play a lot of Destiny, and that's a seasonal game,
Right.
and kind of when you do a lot of the stuff, that's when you put it down and kind of wait until the next season comes out.
Right.
Next season of content. Animal Crossing, even though I play daily, I usually just do my daily things and then shut it off.
Right.
Usually, I pick the weeds, plant the money tree, try and go find the scallop so that dude will give me a piece of furniture. And aside from that, I usually just shut it off. So that's that. I'm trying to think of other gaming habits I have. I haven't played Overwatch in a while. I have raid night, on Destiny with some of my buddies from college, and
right.
I really was thinking I was going to have a more dynamic answer to this, but no, there's not really much. I play Smash with Justin, not very frequently. I definitely play games more than I used to as a kid, but it's definitely structured more, especially when I'm in school.
It kind of has to be, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, as an adult.
I'm starting grad school. When I'm starting grad school, I'm not going to have any time to do anything.
Right, exactly. I remember, like, even throughout your time in college, you had pretty much blocked off most of your time because you spend a lot of time studying, which is good.
Oh, yeah.
So I totally understand that schoolwork is important, especially if you're paying the big bucks for it,
It could be worse. I could fail English a few times.
That's true. I did fail English. But
I'm just teasing you. I'm sorry.
Fair, it was because my professor decided to just be a dick for no reason. So, and then I passed it fairly well the next time. But yeah. So the last one I have on here for the main topics is gaming taste. And I know this one's probably like the biggest change for you personally, because yeah, you just play so much different stuff that I never thought you would or thought you would have interest in.
Yeah, I initially was a big first-person shooter, or any shooter, really. Like I said, when I was talking about Call of Duty, I'd say my first branch off from that was when the War for Cybertron Transformers game came out. Yeah. And it was like a third person, a little bit more fantasy to it. That was kind of when it started to branch. And of course, we like the zombie games. But one of the things I love is that, I don't really, I guess, have a genre. Like, if a game comes out and it's fun, I'll play it. I played Astral Chain, which was, I never played one of those super Japanese RPGs before. Mm-hmm. I'd never played one of those.
Yeah, that's definitely not your typical game.
No, definitely not. But that was fun. I've always loved Animal Crossing. The first one I played was on the DS. I played Wild World.
Right.
So, of course, Animal Crossing's fun. I'm a Pokemon player, as I said, just like everyone else. In terms of taste, man, I really felt like I'd have, bigger answers, but I'm not as complex of a person as I thought.
I'm not that deep. It's okay.
I'm not that. When she says go deeper, but you don't have any conspiracy theories left.
You're just crying behind the happy mask.
Yeah. Of course I like Minecraft. One of the things I used to like doing that we don't do very much anymore was Justin and I would play random games. Like, we played Broforce. Yeah. That was a fun one.
I enjoyed Broforce. That was
really fun. Night Squad is really fun.
Speaking of Night Squad, you and I talked a while back, but I got Ultimate. Ever since I got Ultimate, I have Night Squad again, so that's on the table. So.
Oh, random fact I thought you should know. Your Game Pass Ultimate does not work through game sharing.
I figured not.
It does not. I tried.
I figured that's how they do it. Good news for you. If the game sharing still works the way it does on Xbox that it used to, because I haven't kept up with game share as much as I should, honestly. I picked up Rainbow Six Siege lately because a lot of the other guys and ambassadors play it.
I saw that. I've never played it, but I know that game has aged very well.
Yes,
and people still love it.
So I've been thinking about getting together, a little ambassador night where some of us get together and we play some Rainbow Six. Obviously the logistics of that are a little bit difficult because everybody's schedule is a little wonky, but
Yeah, but at least most of us are in the same time zone.
That's true. Most of us are. There's 3 of us that are in, I think it's British summertime, but the rest of us are in Eastern, so it's not fairly hard. Kevin's really hard to get a hold of because he's so busy in his personal life.
Yeah.
But everybody else, yeah. Adam's not really into shooters, so that's why we don't really all play games together like that. Me and him have been streaming Resident Evil, but that's because I wanted to get through those, and those are kind of games him and I enjoy together. So, but I guess let me see what else I can scrounge up here. So with regards to taste, I guess let me dig into it a bit more. So like, we know you like Zelda. We know you enjoyed the previous Halos, not so much 5, but the previous ones. When you said you're more interested in picking up games regarding like kind of them being interesting, what do you look for? Like what interests you? What piques your interest, I guess?
Definitely story. I know that there are people that, love the multiplayer, and that's fine, but there are some really good stories in games that you wouldn't expect. And one of the games I'm going to reference is what I said earlier. War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron are two. I don't know have you ever played those?
Yeah, I've played both, and then I played the weird movie one.
Yeah, the weird movie one wasn't made by High Moon Studios, and It was Activision trying to they repurposed a whole bunch of stuff from Fall of Cybertron and attempted to make a good game. And guess what? Big shock. It sucked.
Yeah.
But War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron, you think at first glance, oh, there's a pun in here. They're more than meets the eye.
There it is.
There's a pun in there. Thank you.
It really is.
You would think like a Transformers game, you'd think, especially with the animation style, that it wasn't that deep. But there were some very real themes in those games. Very, very good themes. And for someone who grew up with Transformers action figures, it was really good. Story, that's another thing that draws me to Destiny. The gameplay has kind of been a little lacking in the past year, but the story, the lore of that game is always so good. Same with Overwatch. I don't know if you ever read Overwatch lore. Overwatch lore is really good too. But for me, I like a game where I kind of have to really look and try and put pieces together to try and figure out like the exact story. Which is one of the reasons I love Destiny War.
Right.
Or Destiny lore, because you have to put the little narrative pieces together yourself.
Yeah, they do have it so interwoven with like Grimoire and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I'm glad they made the changes they did to that. I know you and I discussed. Yeah, and actually, don't like scan this QR code or like hit our website or whatever. Just read it in the game.
I don't want to stop playing. I'm in a Destiny mood, so why do I want to log off the game and look up lore when I could be playing game and reading lore and loading screens?
Right. Exactly. And with the I was happy they actually made the Grimoire into it like its own book, because I've been saying that forever.
Yeah, the Grimoire, and they have I think 3 or 4 volumes of it now, where they've just been adding stuff to it.
That's really cool, because like even if you're not into Destiny itself, they could be interesting enough where you could read them and just kind of get experience with the world or the universe, I guess.
I guess one of the things I could say is in general I'm into really big sci-fi games.
Yeah.
But that's part of, I went to school for physics. I really liked Star Trek growing up, so that doesn't really surprise anyone. That's like, stuff like Halo, Destiny, the Transformers, stuff like that. Definitely fantasy. Or sci-fi. I tried Skyrim, and I couldn't get into it. It was much too. I played it after when it was released, like way after. Like I played it like for the first time 2 years ago, and the gameplay just seemed so choppy, compared to other stuff that's out right now. I should have figured it's Bethesda, so
that's true.
It's always going to be drunk motion.
Yeah, it really. I have nostalgia for Skyrim because I picked it up, I guess.
I remember when you played Skyrim.
Yeah,
we loved Skyrim.
that was basically all I would play that and just play Call of Duty with you guys, and that was pretty much it. Oh, and occasionally I'd like play Gears, but otherwise those were yeah. So
that's the sound Mike would make when he with his mouth when he would be running in Gears of War. I don't know why, but that was his thing.
I still do it, and like it's like an instinctual thing at this point. It's not like something I consciously do. I just like start doing it. I'm like, my wife walked past one day while I was playing it. She's like, why are you doing that? What noise are you making? And I was like, I'm making the noise of him running. That's how I imagine.
That's apparently the noise. I almost want to like put a soundbite of it and like somehow, if I could, like get it into a special edition of the game, and every time your character would run, you just hear Mike going ducka 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 ducka.
That would be amazing. I would love that, because I remember when Gears 3 came out, because I was really into it with the rest of our kind of high school friends, or at least our acquaintances that we would play with. And I was like, hey, what, I need to try Gears. And you're like, meh, nah, I'm good. That's not really my thing. And I was like, okay, fair enough.
I tried to play Gears. We have one of the newer Gears. What's the newest Gears game?
5. I think you and me and Justin played 4 a bit. I don't think we played 5 together.
Yeah, we played it, and it was just not. I did not care for it.
Yeah.
I just didn't. It wasn't my thing.
It's funny because Gears is a weird thing where like Gears 4 specifically feels like Gears 1. Like they mechanically made it basically the same, so it feels old while looking new. It's really weird. So I can understand what would turn you off by that.
Plus, everyone looks like John Cena.
That's true. Everybody looks super muscular.
Everyone is super short and super muscular. At least they look super short and super muscular.
Yeah.
So they all look like John Cena to me.
That's true. I think that's fair.
Makes me want to make like a live action Gears of War where John Cena plays every role.
That'd be amazing. You could do that, or you could have like Gears wrestling. Just make all the people wrestlers. Give them the little intros.
No, mine's better.
Yeah.
I'd rather have it. And when he runs, you just hear you going duck, duck.
I think a clone army of John Cena would be pretty fantastic in the Gears universe.
Your clones are impressive.
Are you happy with your clones?
Are you happy with your clones?
Jesus. Real quick.
I like Cuphead too.
Yeah.
Totally random. I do like Cuphead.
Yeah, Cuphead is a strange one because it's its own kind of thing.
That plays well on the Switch, but that's because it doesn't really. It's a simple platformer.
I would hope
that game. I normally play that with. I've never played that myself. I bought that to play with Justin.
Right.
Him and I are we're. That's a game that we play together.
Is it online multiplayer too, or just local?
No, just local.
I figured.
Which is fine. You can only have a maximum of 2 players in at a time.
Right.
So that's fine. Celeste. I don't know if you played Celeste.
Yeah.
I liked Celeste a lot.
I remember because Celeste came out around the time we kind of, I think, rebranded as Games Embassy. And I remember when Celeste, like the trailer launched, you and I were super hyped about it because we really liked Towerfall. And we had a lot of fun playing that.
Mm-hmm.
And we were excited for something more single player centric versus just like local multiplayer. And yeah, that was one of the best games to come out, honestly, that year.
Celeste is so good.
It's still really. I still haven't gone back to like beat the additional DLC they added to it, but it was really, really good. It's really pretty too.
Thank you.
You're welcome, I guess. I have one question because I know you don't. We specifically touched on Bethesda, so I get the feeling this isn't your cup of tea. But did you play Outer Worlds?
I did not play Outer Worlds. I didn't have anything against it, and I've seen some gameplay of it, and it looked really good. But it's also a grindy game.
Yeah.
And I'm, between playing Destiny, I don't want to invest time in another grindy game because even just doing that takes up a lot of time.
Right. I guess.
Sorry, I yawned really hard.
You're good. It's like it's mid-afternoon on a Saturday. Everybody, I'm feeling it too, to be honest. With taste, I can expand on it with. I guess what was like the last thing you picked up? What was the last game you bought? out of what's launched recently? Because I know when we talked about Last of Us, you weren't too big into it, so I assumed you didn't get Last of Us 2.
Oh, I loved the story. I love the story. It's just one of those games where I'd rather watch it. I'd rather watch the story and like almost think of it as like a movie.
Yeah.
Rather than, because The Last of Us 1, I never played it, but I loved it. I loved watching it. So that's the only reason why I didn't get The Last of Us 2. I still don't know how the story of Last of Us 2, but I've been seeing it's super polarized. Like everyone is, there's a whole bunch of people saying it's a cloud for social justice, and then other people are like, no, it's really good and the gameplay's solid. And I don't know. Did you play it?
Yes, I played it and I beat it. Me and Daryl actually did a whole spoiler cast on it, particularly. And we didn't really.
So was the gameplay good?
Yeah, the gameplay is really good. I think it's the opposite of the way The Last of Us worked. The Last of Us, the gameplay wasn't as good as the story was, whereas in The Last of Us 2, the gameplay is much better than the story, in my opinion. The story's okay, but it doesn't have the same type of magic, I think, that the first one did.
So, the last game I picked up. Darn. Well, I'm not sure if The Witcher 3 counts, because I actually haven't played it yet. I bought it for Switch, and I still haven't put the card in.
No, fair enough. Daryl liked it on Switch. He said it was pretty good.
Really? I've been hearing the opposite. I heard it runs terribly on the Switch.
That's interesting. I'd have to talk with him again, but he said his experience was that it didn't run poorly. I don't know how deep he got into it, though, to be honest. Because he had it on Xbox, too.
It's one of those games where the only, like, you better be playing that thing in handheld, because that's the only reason to ever buy it for the Switch.
Yeah, really, that's the only reason. Like, if you're going to play it at home, you might as well just buy it on PS4 or Xbox.
Man, I'm trying to think of the last game that I bought. I just rebought used discs from the exchange. I bought War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron because the deal with Activision and Hasbro fell through, so you can't digitally download them anymore.
Yeah.
And they aren't backwards compatible either. So I actually had to go out and get a 360
to actually play them. Because I know at one point, was it War for Cybertron that was ported? I think at one point one of them got ported.
Fall of Cybertron got ported to the one, or to the one.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, Fall did, but not War.
That's so weird. But yeah, that sucks.
So
those are good games.
But I those are the most recent games I've purchased. Before that, I think it's Minecraft Dungeons. Yeah, Minecraft Dungeons was the last purchase I had, the last new game purchase I had.
What appeals to you on that one? Because when I saw it, I was like, I don't really like those types of Diablo dungeon crawler games. They're just not for me. So I never gave it a shot, but I heard good things about it.
I like games. The dungeon crawlers I only enjoy playing with other people. And I play it with Kayla, and I play it with Justin. So I enjoy that. And then the big thing, because I don't have a lot of dungeon crawler games, but the thing that sold it for me was Minecraft. I love Minecraft. So.
Well, that's good. Yeah, Minecraft itself has a lot of appeal, so I assume that was going to be the big selling point for people.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. It just runs horribly on the Switch.
That sucks, because I would think that Microsoft would have taken I guess it's Mojang?
Yeah.
They seem to operate more independently than most studios. At least first party.
Like, we're talking loading screens just freezing. Like, it's still loading, but you don't know whether the game froze or whether
it's loading in.
Just froze. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. It's once you get into the game, it's not bad. There is never a consistent frame rate. If there is any moving enemy on screen, the frame rate is not
drops.
The frame rate has dropped.
Jeez.
Yeah. It can get bad.
That's so strange for me.
Not as bad as Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, when you would go into the Lost Woods, all the moving grass and shit, like your screen would literally freeze for a sec. Your frame rate would drop below 1 frame per second.
That's so weird. I feel like they're going to optimize the second one much better. Speaking of which, I actually thought you would find this interesting. So, you know how a while back I sent you, there was that GameStop deal. It was like buy 5, get 5 free or something. So I went and I bought a bunch of stuff, all Switch games. Bought 10 Switch games. Because I was like, 9. It was something like that.
They're all used, right?
Yeah, they were all used games. But for Switch, I think it didn't much. I felt like it didn't matter as much. You know what I mean? Because it's just a
because you
cartridge,
download the game anyway,
right? And it's not a
and
disc,
the cartridge is just used for authentication.
right? So I didn't really feel like it was going to be a problem. So I picked up a bunch of stuff. I forget exactly what I picked up, but the ones of note that you'll care about were I got the Link's Awakening remake.
I saw you playing that the other day.
Yes, I loved that. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, it is. It's so fun.
That was a lot better than I anticipated it being, quite honestly. I still didn't really care for the art style, but it did grow on me. The more I played it, I was like, this looks right or in this style, these things look right, you know?
Yeah. It suits the story.
Exactly.
It suits the story. It'd be different if they had like a really dark story and then had that animation. It would seem kind of weird, but I felt the whole like dreamy aspect of it. It suited it pretty well.
Exactly. The other one of note that I thought you would find interesting is I also was like, well, if there's any time to do this, it's now. So I picked up Breath of the Wild again. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to stream it, and I'm going to try to like this game. And I've been streaming it. I've been enjoying it more, and I realized my problem.
What was your problem?
I think, based on my experience, that the game has a more particular way it would like you to play it versus me being under the impression that the game, because of the openness of what it does allow you to do, that I could just kind of do whatever I want, you know? So I've been trying to fit myself more into these confines of like, okay, like I need to do this specific thing. For example, the thunder guy on the mountain, when you get the arrows for the water divine beast. I think the first time I played that, I tried to beat him, and I think I spent like a whole day trying to do that. The first time
you
around.
Can't.
Yeah, you're
just supposed to steal from them.
Right. And I did so the second time, and I still struggled pretty hard because I'm really bad at stealth. So I had a really bad time. It took me like, I think 30 minutes to get the arrows.
Yeah. I'm glad you're enjoying it. That game made the Switch's launch.
Yeah. And so in hindsight, I guess speaking on that, because that was our biggest disagreement, I think, probably ever on taste.
Both you and Justin did not like Breath of the Wild, and I was like, this game is amazing. I don't know what you're talking about.
I still have my gripes with it, but with regards to it as a game, I think it's phenomenal. But I still don't like weapon degradation. I still don't really think that's necessary. I feel like, let me put it this way, it is necessary in that game. I just wish that it was different. It wasn't as harsh.
I think that once you beat the story, you should have been able to have your Master Sword not run out of power. I think, if it was up to me, I thought that, because I do agree with you, the weapon degradation, I see how it's kind of important as you go through the game, give you an added bit of challenge. Yeah. But once you actually beat Ganon and are just doing side quests and stuff, it's just tiresome.
Right. And that's, I think, really my main thing, because when I've been playing it, I enjoy the open world. I enjoy going and getting the shrines and doing the towers and kind of just exploring the world. I actually do enjoy that. But when I went and did the Divine Beast, I forgot that the map section requires you to use the map and adjust the trunk or whatever. And I was stuck there for literally like 10 minutes, and I was like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing, and I just started getting super mad.
You just wait till you get to the camel boss.
Yeah, I think that's where I tapped out the first time. Is like I got to the desert area and I was like, wow, this really was hard to get here. And then they're like, don't worry, there's more hard shit along the way. And I'm like,
Dude, that's because you and I did the wrong thing. I went there as my first Divine Beast.
Yeah.
That was my error. Everyone should go to the water one. The water one is the easiest one. That's the one you should go to first. The desert one should be the last. I went there first with 4 hearts, no Master Sword. It was awful, but I did beat him. It was good. Breath of the Wild, I really, really enjoyed. Have you beaten it yet or no?
No, like I said, where I'm at now. I've beaten the first Divine Beast. I finished the tablet stuff, so I got the photo mode and stuff like that. I'm just very slowly going through it because I'm only doing it like an hour or 2 at a time on stream. So it's taking quite a long time, honestly, to get where I need to. But I was feeling frustrated with it, so I kind of stopped the last few days. But yeah, overall, I've been having fun with it.
If you like a challenge, the first DLC is pretty tough.
It's a dungeon DLC, right?
It's the Master Trials, and I can't remember how many rooms there are in total, but there's 50 rooms in total.
Jeez.
And believe it or not, okay, so there's 3 difficulties, and each difficulty has so many rooms, and then it adds up to a total of 50 rooms across the 3 difficulties.
Gotcha.
I did the easiest difficulty, and I failed in the 3rd room. But then I did it again, and I did all 3, and I didn't fail once. So the only time I failed was that very first time. You just got to play smart. It's really it's not hard, because I'm not the best at closed like enemy dungeon areas where you start with literally nothing in the dungeon. You have to pick up everything.
Gotcha.
No clothing, no food, no weapons, nothing. But I digress. What other games did you get?
So I got those 2. I got Baldur's Gate, the Baldur's Gate ports. Because I foolishly thought that they were what do you call it? I thought they were local co-op. So I thought maybe it would be, an interesting kind of experience to play with my wife or something, but they're not. Because one of the Baldur's Gate on PS2 is local. It had up to 4-player co-op. So I just kind of assumed foolishly that was the case.
That's what you get.
Yeah, it is. Then I got New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe because I really wanted to grab that, but I didn't pick it up at launch, and it was a port, so I wasn't that rushed on it.
It's not that big a deal.
I picked up Captain Toad, which we actually played through, and that's way bigger than I anticipated it being, and it's actually a lot more fun than I anticipated it being. I don't know if you played that.
No, I did not.
It's okay. It's a fun co-op game. It's really easy. I think it's really good for parents and children to play together. Because my wife and I haven't really had problems playing it. It's not very difficult. Yoshi's Crafted World, Collection of Mana,
I know you love the Yoshi games.
I do. I love Yoshi. He's my favorite of the Nintendo staples, and his games are always so wonky. I think that's why I like them so much. Though to be honest, they just kind of do that with Kirby first, and then translate it to Yoshi. It seems like.
Yeah, well, I feel like those games, you know what I mean? And plus they keep shifting from who develops it, especially the Kirby games. The Kirby games, the development of Kirby games is always so wonky. I know there's one game that basically got canceled 3 times.
Jeez.
And then it wound up being the Yarn Yoshi game, I think.
Yeah, they made that Yarn Kirby game for the 3DS, I think, or something.
Or that was what I meant, the Yarn Kirby game. After it got canceled over a course of 10 to 15 years, it got canceled 3 times.
Jeez. I wonder why that is. Do you know?
I can't remember. I would be talking out my butt if I tried to say.
Let's see. And then there's just 2 more. I got Ni no Kuni on Switch because I heard that's really good. I haven't gotten into it though. And then the last one I got was that Zoom Zoom game because I think I've discussed this with you, but when I bought my wife's Switch, it was from Japan. It was a Japanese import because for some reason they didn't release that bundle in America, and so her version only came in Japanese. For some reason, Bandai didn't put language settings on that game. They made the game in English and Japanese, but they didn't put language settings in it. So the Japanese version is Japanese only, and the English version is English only.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was great. So I got that because it was free, and I was like, well, I guess if I'm going to get something free, I've been waiting to pick this up forever. So I haven't gotten into a bunch of them, but yeah, I figured you would enjoy my story on Breath of the Wild. I've really been waiting to tell you here because I wanted to see how you would feel about it.
Yeah, I'm just glad you enjoyed it. That game I loved that game. There aren't a lot of games that I wish I could play for the first time all over again, but Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild and Link Between Worlds, the 3DS remake of Link to the Past. Wish I could play that for the first time all over again.
I haven't played either. A Link to the Past is available on Switch, isn't it? On the NES thing?
Yeah, through the SNES thing. Yeah, I played through it already. I loved it. Enjoyed every minute of it.
Because it's there. I always forget to play. They'll even look at the NES, SNES stuff.
Dude, you know what I learned? I was just a really stupid kid. I thought those dungeons were so hard when I was a kid on Link to the Past, but they are not. They really are not.
I don't know if it's necessarily like stupidity. I think it's just being familiar with games and like mechanics and like understanding, like, you know, like, okay, this is the limitation of a game or the limitation of this particular game. Because as you know, like, your fiance plays games. I would say she's probably less familiar than, you know, you and I, but she plays games much more than I originally had thought. Whereas like, my wife, for example, doesn't basically play games at all. She barely played games as a kid, so like she doesn't understand the limitations of games, and so she doesn't understand like, oh, I need to jump on this person's head to get to this platform. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah, you don't understand the common game mechanics or you don't think about them. You think, you look at a room and you're like, well, I tried everything. And it's like, well, then you ask one of us, and it's like, well, I don't think you did. Right. I don't think you tried anything.
Right, and it's so games are weird like that, really, when you think about it, with mechanics. And I know, like, for example, you're not into. I actually think you would be if you tried it at least a little bit. Have you tried Ghost of Tsushima at all, or at least seen it?
I have not, but I have seen it. It looks really fun.
It basically, it's as close as you're probably going to get to a version of like Breath of the Wild on PlayStation, in terms of like basically the closest thing I can compare it to. It really feels better, like a better version of Horizon, if I'm honest.
That's one of my regrets. I've never played Horizon. I got out of the village. I got out of the starting area and made it to the first like village where there's like some sort of festival happening.
Yeah.
And that was where I stopped because I was playing Breath of the Wild at the time.
Yeah, and it's hard I just to compare those two. Because even look, especially with Ghost, this is what makes me feel this way about Horizon, is that I feel like we were too easy on Horizon in terms of like technically, like the game is really clunky in comparison to Ghost and Breath of the Wild, and like some of the animations not as good as in Breath of the Wild as in Ghost
of Tsushima. The infinite dodge. I like how Aloy can seriously dodge forever.
Right. She just has like an infinite roll.
And there's no stamina.
Yeah, there is no stamina. They do a better job of it in Ghost, where he has different types of animations. So like the dodge doesn't necessarily always roll, but it will do like a sidestep and then a roll. And like you can continue to roll, but it's much slower. It's not really worth your while to do, you know?
Yeah.
So, let's see. We're at 47 minutes. I guess I'll end it the same way because I feel like we've reached a good point. We have had a good conversation so far. Is there anything you feel like we haven't touched on that you would like people to know about you, or something you feel we haven't discussed yet?
I like.
Okay.
No, please delete that. Please edit that out. Please. No, I think you.
Okay, I've made a note. So here's what I'll do. I'll bleep it and leave them to wonder. Does that work for you? Will that hide your shame enough? All right. So yeah, I guess that's it. Obviously we're working on some other stuff, so you and I are gonna get into some other stuff at a future date. Hopefully we can get a Rainbow Six kind of party going on, and maybe we can stream that as well. I don't know. Me and Billy are gonna have a discussion on Sunday. Oh, you're welcome also to join our streams if you feel like it. I forgot to bring that up to you the other day. So if you ever feel like hopping on just Discord and BS and let the people hear your wonderful voice. I was gonna say see you, but then I realized you're not gonna be seen. So all right. Of course. I'm glad we could sit down and actually do this in a more proper way, because I wanted everybody to really get an understanding of who you are and who we are individually, so that they could understand you a bit better, instead of just like when we do our rotating cast, I feel like some people don't necessarily get a good grasp on who you guys are. So thank you everybody for watching. We appreciate it. And of course, any engagement is always appreciated. Any questions you may have for Chris, of course, let us know, and maybe we can get to them next time around if we do another one. Yeah, that's true. He probably will tell you to kick probably tell you to kick rocks or pound salt or one of those other boomer metaphors. Pound salt is a boomer metaphor. Yeah, pound salt is a boomer way of saying go fuck yourself. Like it. All right, bye everybody.